Okay, and we are live on YouTube. I am Mick Solomons. I'm the developer of the Starting Strength app, and alongside me, I've got Starting Strength coach Alex Koseri. G'day, Alex.
Hey, how's it going, Mick?
Yeah, going good. Unfortunately, Rusty couldn't make it today. He had to pull out late, so he sent his apologies. But hey, it happens sometimes.
Yeah, just as I think for kind of fill the space a little bit, I want to talk more about why a lot of the errors crop up. I think with form checks, normally, we'll just say, this is the error, this is how you fix it, not kind of why the person got there in the first place. So I'll probably spend a little more time on that.
Yeah, it's good. I think it'll be good for people to hear that. So let's get into it. I saw this one on Reddit. This is not a user form check, but this is actually from the International Space Station. They seem to have a squatting machine, or how the astronauts train in zero gravity, I guess, to stop atrophy when they get back. It's a pretty cool machine they got going there.
Yeah, no, it's definitely super cool. I know that I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and apparently they tried a lot of kind of like magnetic-based resistance things for quite some time, but kind of like unnecessary magnets in a space station presumably is not good. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool. But I know that a lot of times they'll use kind of like, I don't want to say like friction-based brake pads. That's the understanding that I'm on for a lot of kind of like the pulley and flywheel systems. So that's pretty cool. It's definitely pretty cool. I know that one of the French astronauts who's in the International Space Station, he's a judo guy. So he's been doing judo and wrestling his whole life. So he'll like show demonstration stuff with the other astronauts. So that's pretty cool too. It's another good thing. He'll be like throwing people around in zero Gs. So
do you think the Asian guy riding the bike, he's actually powering the whole station?
He could well be. Yeah. He could well be. I'm sure that they don't like to put anything to waste here. So I'm sure it charges something.
Do you want to give any form check feedback to these guys? We'll send it up to space and let them know about their squats.
Absolutely not. These are the most athletic 60-year-old men that you'll ever see. I wonder how old these guys are. Some of them look a little bit older.
Yeah, they definitely look 40s and 50s. All right. Well, anyway, let's rip into some actual form checks. Adam Bull.
All right, we got Adam Bull.
Yeah.
Again, cool name.
It's a good name.
Very flexible shoulders. We'll see that right off the bat. Long legs, short torso. Yeah. And Austin has the dodgeball poster.
Yes, I was just looking at that going, I know where that's from.
Way to go, man. I wish Rusty was here for this one. This is a good who's you get on the platform exam. So
can I go?
We talked. Yeah. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, you go for it, Mick.
All right. Well, he's squatting about 3 to 4 inches high. That's the very first thing I've noticed. So it looks like this weight is probably testing him a little bit too much. I think he probably needs to drop the weight down and really make sure he's hitting parallel.
It's more like 9 inches.
You reckon 9 inches? Yeah, well, I was trying to be nice.
You guys are centimeter people. Yeah. You guys are centimeter and meters people. But yeah, so we talked about this a few times, last week with kind of doing a full reset, building your base from there again. It's not something where, taking 10 pounds off the bar would likely solve this issue. This is an issue where you have really long legs. You're in the long leg gang. That sucks. I'm sorry. You're also in the short torso gang. So that means that you're going to have to lean over an incredibly large amount in your squat. And then your conventional deadlift is going to start with an almost horizontal torso. A lot of people like that, they just end up pulling sumo, so if that's something you want to look into. But essentially what you're going to need to do is relearn where depth is with just the bodyweight squat. You're going to have to let your knees come forward a lot more than they are now. And you're going to have to think about shoving the top of your chest down in between your knees. A lot of times people are focusing on leaning over and creating a horizontal back angle, whereas what you need to focus on is actually pushing your chest down to the ground. The knees need to close significantly more. These are like 10 inches high, I would say.
You think his stance is a bit wide as well? Do you think that's why he's struggling to get down to parallel?
No, I mean, like, it's interesting because his calves are quite long in relationship to his femurs. So it's going to be put in this position where people will widen their stance and point their legs out to the side to shorten the legs from like if you're viewing the lifter from the side. So like if you see the really wide powerlifting squat, that's the reason they're trying to do that. When you have just super long calves, it's going to take a long time for your knees to get in position just because it has to go a tremendous distance. So you have to, kind of the opposite of a lot of the other form checks that we think about. You need to think about letting your knees go as far forward as they can and shooting your chest down. But like strength is there. You're holding your back in a great extension. You have super flexible shoulders. You have a cool home gym. So there's a lot of positives going on. Just kind of figure out where depth is. Yeah. So. Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. All right, there you go, Adam. Next up, we have Andy Darby, who also had a question, I think.
Okay, cool. I love questions.
Yeah, so he said he's 49, 5'10", 190 pounds. Every time he gets into the 200-pound range squats, he gets an injury. And he recently started back at 135, worked up to 200. Then he pulled a muscle on his right side a week ago. And he's doing 165 in this video, but he's got limited reps since he can still feel whatever is going on at the bottom. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Did he say how long ago any of those injuries happened, or did I miss that part?
He said he pulled a muscle on his right side about a week ago.
Oh, so that was just a week. Okay, yep. Excuse me. Yeah, so I mean, in that case, it's don't expect kind of a complete recovery from these things in a week. It's good on you that you're still training immediately. Kind of similar to Adam's squat right before this. These are a little bit high. By a little bit high, realistically, I mean 3 inches. So to kind of calibrate your IMIC, that's probably about how high these are. I would widen up your stance. I think your stance is a little bit narrow. The bar is a little bit too high. I don't think that's a flexibility issue because, your shoulders are in there pretty tight. So I would widen your hands up, let the bar sit lower. When the bar is sitting lower, your torso is going to be in a much more comfortable position than it is now. You'll be able to squeeze your chest up, kind of get a tighter back. And that may help. It's going to be a new motor pattern, so it'll be less sensitive to the pain, that you've been experiencing with your back whenever you're running up towards 200. So I would widen the stance. Think about dropping your butt straight down in between your heels is probably the primary cue that I would give you after you fix the bar position. In terms of getting pain once you get kind of past an absolute load threshold, I would say that has to deal with your programming getting to that load threshold, not anything magical about it being 195 versus 200, so definitely, talk to a coach about your programming, kind of figure out where you need to be load management wise, but I don't think these squats are a bad start at all.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Right, Andy, there you go. Next up, we have Benoit. I think we saw Benoit last week. I think we saw his deadlifts last week, yeah.
I have to run back to Dropbox for him real quick.
Okay.
It's saying the file's already in use, which is interesting.
Oh. Have you got it up now?
Yep, here we go. Yeah, he's unracking it now. So what do we got? We got 285, I think, right on this?
Yeah, maybe.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. How many inches high? We're going to play how many inches high on this one as well.
Yes, yeah. Everybody's online distance measurement.
Yeah. I would say 4 to 5.
Right. So, I mean, kind of the opposite of the people who you just saw. Benoit here, he has a pretty long torso, relatively short femurs. This is normally pretty cool for squatting. Kind of leads to a more kind of a high bar position with a vertical back angle. Your stance is too wide, and I can't tell if those are socks or like, kind of like deadlift slipper-esque shoes. But I would definitely get some squat shoes. I think those would help a good bit. I think that would sail you down to depth without you having to kind of really alter any of your form. Widen up the stance by about like an inch on I would say 1.5 inches total. So like just a smidge. And you are leading with your chest on all of these. So what you'll see is kind of the bar drift backwards in space a little bit on the ascent. You'll see him kind of get stuck there, and it's just kind of a fight with his head wiggling up and around. So stay in your hips, widen your stance up a little bit, definitely get some squat shoes. And I would not squat a ton of times per week at this intensity. That will probably lead you to some fatigue problems if every rep is a grinder like this. If this is like an occasional PR, super cool. But be careful about that.
What RPE do you reckon that last one was?
RPE high. RPE high. Yeah, I think with form adjustments, you could definitely get a lot more weight on the bar given the same exact strength levels. But I think this may be an uncomfortably high level of RPE to do chronically. So.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Benoit. David Carrillo.
I like it. We got some gymnastics rings going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Got some bands. Trap bar. The lovely trap bar.
So there's a good little setup he's got there.
Hmm?
I like those Adidas black and white power lifters. I've been trying to get those for a long time.
Very stylish.
My vanity there. He's powering through these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are fast. These are very fast. So I would say the big thing here is that you are looking straight down. So with if he's standing exactly where he is, I would look right in the middle of your hex bar, your trap bar. Right now he's looking straight down to the ground. He's getting a little bit hunched in his upper back. Think about picking your chest up. So if your sternum is here, what you want to think about is pulling your sternum up and through. That's the motion that you're going for. To help finish that, think about pulling your elbows down to your back pockets in your squat itself. You're going to end up in a much tighter position. The back angle will look a little bit more vertical, sure, but you need to be leaning over a little bit more of the hips. You'll solve that problem on your own. You don't need to think about it too much. Your toe angle is a little bit severe, I would say, as well. So your knees are tracking inside of your toes, so I would pull your toes in just a tad. But otherwise, probably if you're still on your LP, take some 10-pound jumps for a minute, so this can catch up. Or just like the sweet smelly easy with keep adding 5 here. I think these are really good squats.
Yep. All right. Good job, David. And up next we have Eric Carpenter, who I also think we've seen him before.
Yeah, I recognize that name.
Yeah, yep.
Is he the Maryland guy? No, he's not the Maryland guy.
No, he's the Louis C.K. guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's Louis in his garage.
He actually mentioned it in one of his emails as well. I'm the guy that you keep calling Louis.
It's hard to tell your stance with here, but we know a few things about you is that you are squatting ever so slightly high. You're kind of rocking into your knees. If I had to bet, the bar position would be high, and you would likely do better from a slightly wider stance. When I say slightly, I mean like an inch. We can see your thigh running into your belly. Now you kind of have two choices. You can actively compress your belly, so you can physically say, okay, I'm going to stay in the exact configuration I'm in, and I'm going to squish those things together. Unsurprisingly, that's uncomfortable for most people. The other option is just widen up your stance a little bit, even if it's slightly off model. So think about leaning over more, jam everything together. It's going to feel really compact. It's going to feel really compact at the bottom. And I'm not sure how much weight is in the bar here, but I think that's 145. So this is, or one pair of 45-pound plates. So this looks like if that's a 25, maybe you're on light 200s, something like that. But you're a big guy. This shouldn't be too bad a weight for you. So check your bar position, get your stance a little bit wider if you are uncomfortable getting really compact. And then with that, taking off the belt may help. So for a lot of people, the bottom of the squat is really tight already. The belt is a little bit too tight. So taking that off may help you get, the extra 1.5 inches, 2 inches of depth that you need. So.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I would say that while we're still on, Eric, I would say that this is one of the most common types of misinterpretations of where, depth is, where they think the hip crease is kind of right at the knee. And then most people will be like, oh, the top of my leg just needs to be flat. And a lot of times it's just ever so slightly high, So the consequences of going 1 inch deep, they're not that much. So just be sure. Just be sure.
Yep. Good stuff, Eric. Keep sending in those videos. Okay. Up next we got Guy Sexty.
File name right on this one, or did you change that?
No, I think that's actually his name.
Way to go, man. Way to go.
Would you say he's in the long-legged, short torso category?
I don't know. This loaded as an MP3 track for me, so that's probably not right. Unless it's a sound clip of him squatting, but we'll see. I'm on Dropbox right now. It's coming up.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen about 2 seconds of the video so far. Yeah, short torso, long legs, cool guy. Yeah, so the first thing you're going to note is that the hips are too low, and what you'll see is when he's setting his back, the bar is coming off the ground. That's a really good sign. But then it kind of clips his shins, his hips go up a little bit, and then he finishes the rep. So you got to move your face down, move your head down a little bit, kind of look a spot on the floor to adjust for you. I would say 6 to 8 feet out in front of your barbell setup. So like place something there for you to look at, and then pick your hips up and rock them back. Think about having just your armpits right on top of the bar. So lining this up right on top of the bar and getting your hips as high up and as far back as you can. You wouldn't feel like the bar is in contact with your legs the entire time, but not like your leg skin. Like if it's touching your pants but not your skin, that's exactly where I want it. So that you're not pulling behind midfoot, you're right on midfoot. Unless you got something going on with your hands, I would probably ditch the gloves. You're just kind of adding another layer, of mess. And whenever the bar is pretty heavy for you, which it should be pretty soon, that's gonna be a bit of a problem. But hips up, face down. And this is a pretty good start. Like if you go to a lot of places who don't really understand deadlift mechanics, they'll be like, oh, this is the perfect deadlift. This is the perfect clean pull. But what it'll happening is the person's just going to, beat the hell out of their shins and kind of get stuck kind of at a terminal point, which is normally like a little bit over their body weight for themselves. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think watching that 5-step setup video as well is probably good. That'll be a few tweaks for you, Guy.
Yeah. A lot of people, whenever they'll start that, it will feel really weird to have your hips that high because it will then feel like your lower back is doing something. And I know that's really scary, but it's kind of the point. So in the beginning, that tends to be a little bit jarring to be like, oh, but I was using my legs this entire time and that was working so well, and then you gotta shift to actually use your back. But just remember that everything in your spine, it's just holding itself in the correct position. That's all it's doing. Your legs, your glutes, your hamstrings, they're doing the majority of the work. So be confident, get your hips higher. Yep.
All right, Guy, good stuff. Send us another video in a couple of weeks, mate, and we'll check out the update. Yeah.
And a scanned copy of your ID, if that's your last name.
Yeah, we want to know how you got that name. Melanie Squat, we've seen her before. And her press.
Okay. It's good press. That's a very good press.
Solid.
Yeah, I don't like the style. Respect for wearing the same T-shirt. This is one of my favorite lifting T-shirts as well. I wear it probably 2 out of the 3 times if I'm going outside of the gym, not just working out at home. So I think every time we've seen you, you've been wearing this shirt. I could be wrong, could be crazy.
I think she sent all of the videos in all at once. So
okay.
Let's not make too many assumptions about her T-shirts.
Playing them.
Yeah, let us know, Melanie.
We've been dosing them out. Yeah. I was gonna say. But yeah, no, I have absolutely no problems with this. There's no hip movement on your bounce, really. You're essentially just getting your bounce from your thoracic spine. That's not really too big of a problem, so long as you're okay with it being slightly less of a bounce. If you're looking for kind of the maximum movement that you can get that is not a push press, throw your hips forward as hard as you can. Look at like Chase's press, which we'll look at a little bit later. That's going to be the most exaggerated version you'll see. If you are just getting a little bit of bounce just here, just with your thoracic spine, that's totally fine. And then the layback that you're seeing towards your later rep, rep 4 and rep 5, where you're staying lean back, also totally okay. The only thing I would like to see is really shrugging your shoulders up intentionally. You kind of pop into the position and then get out of it immediately. Hold it for a second. It's not that much more taxing, and it'll give you a little bit more room to catch your breath at the top. But otherwise, solid presses, good presses.
Cool. Good stuff, Melanie. Let's take a look at Chase's press from the week.
It's time. Yeah, this is from a while ago. It's a pretty scary press.
Is it from a while ago? No, this is a new one. This was posted during the week. New? This is 350.
Oh, damn. Okay, I don't think I've seen this one yet. Amazing.
Yeah.
Aggressively jacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's depressingly a lot of weight.
Oh no, it's great. It's great.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, you take a heavy deadlift warm up and throw it over your head. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of people will immediately see this and then they'll be like, oh, rip Chase's spine. If it wasn't working, it wouldn't be working. It's totally safe. Granted that you are conditioned to make it safe. Would I recommend that myself or Mick try a press like that immediately? Probably not.
So you don't recommend me to try and press 350?
Yeah. If you just want to unrack 350 and then have your spine bend backwards like that, salute, man. That would probably do something for you. But
I don't even think I have 350 pounds of weights.
Yeah. This is a very specialized press. It's very cool to see something like this in the realm of athletics. So.
Yeah. Anyway, good work, Chase. Hopefully Rusty will be able to give us a bit of background story on it next week as well.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure I can guess the cliff notes. It's like, yeah, he's a scary fucking dude. He's giant. He's jacked. He presses weight all the time.
Yeah. Good work, Chase. That's awesome. Miriam on last week as well.
This angle's going to be interesting. Okay, we're going straight to the front this time.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, so we watched her deadlift last time, if I remember correctly.
Oh, she's walking it out backwards.
Yeah, so I would start with sending you to low bar. A lot of people, if they high bar, it'll be more or less natural. They'll be able to get ass to grass. In this case, you're a little bit high. By a little bit, I mean a good bit. Moving the bar down and getting your hands a lot closer to your shoulders. So rather than being here, pulling it in as tight as you can. And then what you want to think about is bending over at your hips and leaning over as aggressively as you can. Drop your heels down in between your butt, and then you should be set. The stance width that you were taking is more or less fine. I would widen it up just a hair. The toe angle was fine. Similar to, I'm going to say it was Adam's squat up at the top of the video. You're just going to have to reset and learn what depth is like. And then with that, it's going to start with the body weight progression. So watch the starting strength squat videos. They'll go through the body weight progression. So it's like putting your hands together, getting your elbows down in between your knees. And then that's going to help you establish where depth is. And once you have depth there, I'm confident you'll be able to pull it off. Your deadlift was really good in terms of back extension. And that's normally the hard part for people, even in the squat. So I think that'll be fine. In terms of walking it out, yeah, Mick was right there. Definitely turn it around. You want to walk it out backwards and walk it back and forwards is how you want to walk it in. If you just did that for the sake of the video, don't worry about it. We would prefer a rear angle anyways. But otherwise, it's definitely a promising start, just like your deadlift was last week, but it definitely does need a reset. So gyms are opening back up, so go find a starting strength coach near you. They're good guys.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. All right, moving on. Thanks, Miriam. Let's see, Orest Manzi. I've got a question from him as well.
What is going to happen here?
I don't know.
Okay, well, it says in the file name squat, so that's okay. So I guess he has to stand kind of under it like this, kind of up the bench. Okay.
Yep. So cool. I'll give you a bit of background on Orest. He's a 59-year-old recent cancer survivor, 168, 5'8", completed 10 rounds of chemo last September. Damn. And soon after starting strength. Went from empty bars a couple of weeks after his chemo was finished to a 255-pound squat, 265 deadlift, 160 bench, 120 press. And he has another scan in July. His last scan showed some remaining spots, but I hope they're gone, and he feels good thanks to the lifting. Good work, Orest.
Way to go, man. Yeah, absolutely way to go.
That's very impressive, mate.
Yeah. So does it say what the weight is on here in the video? Because this looks pretty light for him.
He said he went up to a 255 squat.
Okay. Yeah, so these were definitely a good start. I'll be speculating a little bit because of the video angle, but I'll probably be correct. Cocky as it sounds, it's our job. First things first is I need you to pull your head back over your shoulders. So you're reaching down with your head as you squat, and you're looking about a foot in front of where your stance is. From where you're located, looking about halfway or to the end of the bench is a totally fine spot to look. Think about pulling your chin back to give you a double chin. That's a good place to start. We don't want your head far forward in front of your spine because we're trying to keep it as nice and straight neutral as we can, and just jamming your head forward, it's probably not that great. It's probably not that great for the long term. So fix your head position, and that's going to change your torso angle because your frame of reference is now changed. Think about leaning over a little bit more. And the next thing is I would like you to widen up your stance a little bit. I think your current stance width is a function of the carpet square that you're standing on. Be comfortable getting a little bit closer to the edges. I would probably widen your stance up by like an inch or 2 inches. I would confirm that on the video because these are a tad high right now. But overall, very good squats. These look super light for you, so you can add weight to this pretty quickly. But good on you for getting under the bar.
Yeah, man, that's impressive, man. So I don't think I'd have the strength to be able to do that, going through chemo and then starting strength at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds rough. You see, you actually notice he does actually lift his head into the right position as he's coming up out of the squat.
Yeah.
Well, he does look up a bit too high,
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting trend to note because you'll see that with a lot of things about your body attempting to get it into the correct position, because it's a function of your balance. In Rip's deadlift article, it was a good place to point it out really for all the lifts. But your head being between like 5 to 7% of your total mass normally, where you're putting that really affects your center of mass for the lifts. So if you're jamming it forward, you're going to be more on your toes. Your hips are going to be a little bit higher. It's going to be harder to get to depth. Pull it back. It's more or less directly in line over your center of mass combined with the barbell. So, definitely think double chin. Don't let anyone stand in front of you during the squat. It's an unattractive place to be. Have people watch you from the sides.
Yeah. I find it difficult to that cue of getting a double chin. I find it hard not to drop my head forward when I'm doing that. I think you gave me that cue a few weeks ago, and I think I noticed I'm actually dropping my head forward now. But it's sort of
I think pulling it back and up is what I like to think about. There are some I gave that cue to one of my guys who's just like he's my most handsome client. He couldn't do it. His jawline was so robust that he was like, I don't know what that means. What I like to think about is like even I'll do it in person. You can just grab the back of someone's head, pull it up and backwards, and that will solve it most of the time. So think double chin, think hiding your jaw, anything like that, pulling your head backwards. And that'll normally fix that up.
Gotcha. All right. Mm-hmm. Good work, Orest. Pelle O Press.
I feel like these are all fake names, but
I think we're getting a lot of videos from Europe, to be honest.
Damn.
It looks like he was about to squat it then, and he forgot that he was doing a press.
Mm-hmm. Is that a watch on? That's a watch on. Okay. This looks nice and heavy. It's cool. Yeah. So first thing, take your watch off. It's going to give you weird feedback with where your hand is in space. So when you have something constricting here, you're going to feel kind of tactile feedback depending on where you're going. It's better just to kind of not have it on at all. If you're kind of using it for heart rate metrics, don't worry about it. You'll have it off, for 30 seconds per set. The big thing here is the elbow position, and you are unracking the bar with the wrist already bent. So when you're setting up, and if you just kind of look up Rip fixes your press grip, or just like Rip starting strength press, some combination of that, and use your Google Foo, you'll be able to find it. There's a really good video kind of detailing exactly how to take your grip on the bar. But the point is that if I unrack it like this to start, chances are I'm not going to fix it at all during the set. So we need to unrack it in the correct position. Pretend you just don't have a wrist at all. Pretend you don't have the option to move it forward or backwards and go from there. The next thing is your elbow position. You'll see it whenever coaches are saying get your elbows in front of the bar. But, if if the bar is here, my elbow needs to be well in front of it. Yours is kind of drooping down like this, and it's a hell of a reverse curl, and it will make the bottom feel really heavy. But the goal is that I need to exaggerate and get my elbow physically in front of the bar. Yep. So high elbows up in front of you, and that should solve most of it. It may be helpful for you to widen your stance a little bit too. I would recommend, but otherwise, strict press is a strict press. So yeah, you can see the elbow position is really forcing the bar forward at the bottom as well.
Yes, it throws it out well in front of his face, which is obviously going to make it harder. I think on that last rep, he's way out in front of his nose as well. Yeah, and it's a thing that just kind of takes practice. The press is the most sensitive to bar path, and the bar path also changes the most when you get fatigued.
imagine if you're squatting and you're super fatigued, the bar path is perfectly vertical because you just get stuck at the bottom and die. Whereas the press, if you're fatigued, it's just going to go out away from you. It's not going to go back up. So I think that the grip fixes and the elbow position fixes would change most of it for you. Would probably get you landing in right about the same spot or the correct spot. But when it gets away from you, at that point, honestly, just re-rack it, catch it again, try throwing it backwards through your head. Because fighting a rep that's like 3 inches in front of your face it's hard.
It's hard. Yeah.
It's very hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever use the cue? I think when I was sort of coaching people, I sometimes they couldn't really understand how to get their elbows in front of the bar, and I sort of started saying, well, just push your boobs together, and that sort of seemed to help them.
Yeah.
What cue do you normally use?
I like saying make some cleavage is what I like to say.
Okay, same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because you'll figure out how to do it pretty quickly. Because like if you have someone see it, and you'll just be like, it's pretty simple. But it does feel weird because it feels like your arm can't really move. It feels like everything's too tight for your arm to get over your head. Yep. Honestly, that's kind of the point. Yeah, the bottom of the press is going to feel uncomfortable and very tight. So. Yep.
Okay. Rodrigo Sanchez, deadlift.
We got 185. Okay, cool. This is similar to Guy Sexty. Again, respect to that guy. You're setting up a never am. And it's an honor to be compared to him. But you're setting up with your hips a little bit too low. And then what's happening is that your shoulders are getting right on top of the bar, even slightly behind the bar. So when you're trying to get tight at the bottom, you're going to notice kind of a lot of hesitation from the bar to break the ground. Once the bar breaks the ground, it's actually going to accelerate a little bit more because your hips have been pulled into the correct position. If you are thinking, squat the bar up, get your knees, under the bar, get under the bar, any of those cues, if that's the picture that you have for the deadlift, this is what it's going to look like. So how I would change this is I would turn around so you can look farther out in front of you. Turn around so you're not facing that very local wall. Look at a spot, 10 to 12 feet on the ground in front of you, and then pick your hips up. So when we're saying set up an inch away from the bar, for the vast majority of people, that's kind of 2 fingers, in between your shins when you're standing up. So set up a lot closer to the bar, you're really far forward, and then thinking about keeping your hips high and getting your whole lat over the bar. If it's pretty drastic like that, kind of from the side position, I'll say get your lat over the bar, person lean forward. And then, that'll tend to solve that, but you're a big, strong guy. You should probably be moving around a lot more weight than this. I think the form would help expedite that a lot. So,
yeah. And get rid of that plate that he's dropping it onto a micro plate or a small plate on the side there, and it's throwing the bar back into his shins. Yeah.
Aha. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know why he's got that there. I don't know if it's a marker or it's just a,
Maybe he has a tilty garage.
Yeah. Someone called Jetto Black just said hi, Alex, from Jason in VA.
Oh, hey, yeah, that's actually one of my dudes. Cool. That's Jason. Hey, Jason. We got a Seth coming on.
What? Sorry.
We got Seth next, right? Seth Deadlift.
Oh yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Seth. Oh, he's the young bloke. Yeah, righto.
He is. Yes. Mm-hmm. All right, so he's setting up his hook grip. Got 2 plates and 235, I think, on the bar total. Mick, this should be an easy one for you. What do you think?
Hang on, he's still setting up in my video.
I mean, he was still setting up in mine. You just gotta be able to tell the future a little bit.
I mean, these look pretty good. He does look like he's jerking the bar a little bit off the floor rather than a nice sort of smooth lift. But I mean, these, I don't know, these look pretty good to me.
Yeah. Hips are a little bit low. The bar is slightly forward to midfoot. It is light enough for him to still manhandle it. Would this work with 400? Probably not. Kind of given his, difference between or how short his torso is. Set up a little bit closer to the bar than you think you need to. And you may be one of those people who pulls better in flats. It's probably not the biggest difference, but try it. See if you like it. I would widen up your grip just a hair too. What you'll see is kind of at the bottom, his arms are starting like this. If you have to start like this at the bottom, just widen out so that it's straight, or just pull it in so that your legs are compressed too. So you can move the stance in or you can move the grip out a little bit. Experiment to see what's more comfortable. Yeah, you're starting a little bit forward of midfoot, but it's fine right now because, it's 235 and he probably weighs like 180 pounds if I had to guess correctly. Yeah, so I would definitely say pull it back a little bit, but just keep eating food aggressively and, start doing more chin-ups. So.
Yeah, you can definitely see it. I didn't notice the midfoot thing, but you can definitely see the bar coming off the shins or coming back into the shins as soon as he lifts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not hypercritical, kind of, at the beginning, because the lift will still work, but it's you're practicing for whenever it's very heavy in a few months. That's what you have to think about. So.
Mm-hmm. Another comment, Wisey012, good shit, fellas. Thanks, Wisey.
Hey, there.
Another one of your mates?
No.
Okay. All right.
He could be just from a trolley account.
Yeah. Steve McCluskey, squat.
It's a green barbell. That's cool.
He's very color coordinated, this bloke, isn't he?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm not sure if this is for the video, depending on where you're standing, but squat a little bit closer to those arms so that if you do need to bail, you will be on top of them rather than just falling backwards and, folding yourself in half. Mm-hmm. Again, long leg gang, short torso. It is a hard combination for squatting, especially if you are kyphotic. So if you have long legs, short torso, and then it's rounded, you're in an awkward position because the bar wants to roll up as you have to lean your torso over. This is exacerbated because his bar is a little bit high. So this is just like a straight up and down high bar position. I would move the bar down the best you can. And then just like I talked about earlier in the video, your goal for the squat is to get your chest from here to here as aggressively as it can be almost the entire time. Bill Hannon has a good article on that. I think I'd mention it literally every week. But we should just put it in the description at this point. Identifying thoracic extension of the squat, watch it. Or to me, read it. And the next thing would be to widen your stance up. So you are cutting off probably 2.5 inches of depth pretty consistently each time. So widen that stance up by a good bit, by like 2 inches, I would say, in total. And then just keep shoving your knees out to the side. That'll probably help out a lot. And I think, it's speculation, but I think that your thumb is around the bar, so you're grabbing it, like a normal, like you would for like the bench press or something like that. Get your thumb on top of the bar, kind of tilt your hand out a little bit more. It'll probably be a little more comfortable for you. So.
Okay. Good on you, Steve-O. We have got, Tommy J. Yeah, Tommy J. He's
Oh, cool. We got some rocks going on here.
This is the guy that sent in the couple of log squats and press.
Oh, nice.
Same guy.
All right, so we got a mattress frame.
Yeah, got
PVC
a mattress frame.
With rocks on it.
A couple of boulders.
Yeah.
It's a shame Rusty had to miss this one, to be honest. He would have loved this.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I would start this a little bit lower, honestly. I would stand on something yourself. Because you have a few options. You're either going to have to keep stacking up rocks infinitely because this is still light as hell for you. You could do this for like 60 reps. Or, nice, I like that at the end. Or you're going to have to move yourself up a little bit. No, but that was great. This is gym engineering at its best. Yeah. Hopefully this man is building our bridges or taking care of our nuclear facilities somewhere. He's using his powers for good. Yeah. Is all I hope for. Yeah. Yeah, this is smart. I'm gonna save this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, Tom. Thanks, mate. Keep sending these in. Mm-hmm. We love them.
Yeah. Way to go.
Yeah. How much weight do you reckon's on there? How much weight do you reckon that mattress can hold? The mattress base.
It's shaking around a lot.
It is. Yeah. So, probably causes a lot of muscle confusion, though.
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah. I live that bodybuilder lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot. Way to go, man.
All right, we're up to Vijay. Oh, what's that? Sorry.
We had some power cleans, right?
Yeah, I got Vijay. We had Vijay in last week as well with his squats.
Mm-hmm. Okay, gotcha. I like the setup using kettlebell boxes as the rack position. I like it. Yeah. So the first thing is that I would go through your progression again. So they've just been putting out a new series on Starting Strength YouTube channel. Check it out, about the teaching progression for the power clean. You have misinterpreted the jump position. So you are jumping when the bar is already at about waist height. So it's basically like where your pants are sitting, the top of your pants are sitting. And then you're kind of already starting to pull the bar up with your arms. And then you're kind of like jumping onto your toes a little bit. It's not a very forceful jump. Kind of half-assed when the bar is already at this point, like right here, and you're getting under it. So to start, I would go back through your jumping position drills. So get the bar 3 or 4 inches above the top of your knees. Make sure your balance is set correctly with straight arms. So turn your arm in, flex your tricep as hard as you can. Think about getting the top of your head as close to the ceiling as you can on your jump. Once you get the jumping position down, the rest of it will make a lot more sense. So it's a deadlift with a jump attached to it. You just have to figure out the jumping part. Okay. But like back extension is there. It's just kind of a big timing thing right now. So starting with the jump position, that will likely solve most of your issues for you. And then, I would definitely, I'd see somebody in person. They'll be able to solve it a lot faster than, either self-teaching will, or self-study. We'll sit with self-study. But good start. Eat more food, please. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about power cleans and who should do them and when they should be done?
Oh, that's a very good question. I have the same policy for all exercises. If you don't want to be doing them, you shouldn't be doing them. If you feel like a sense of guilt or coercion into being like, oh, I need to do X, Y, and Z, don't. You're not going to enjoy it, and normally those people will drop out of doing whatever it is, over the long run. Like, you'll notice the consistency is not there. So like if someone's like, I absolutely hate squats with a burning passion, you can explain to them that the squat is super cool for you. It's your highest return on investment, yada, yada, yada. But if they're not going to do it, they're not going to do it. Should they still be training? Absolutely. The power clean, if you don't have shoulder issues and you're like a generally athletic person, you should definitely 100% do them because they're fun. You're the coach who's teaching you should be able to make it a fun process for you. I really think that, and I'm sure like someone like a Jonathan Sullivan or like a John Janicek who works with like a master's population will have a better handle on this. But I'm in the process of teaching power clean remotely to a guy who's in his early 60s and a guy who's in his late 50s. Both of them have been banged up a lot, but they're still doing them because you make it fun, you keep it light. So like if I'm sure if like I don't know what's like a good token old lady name like Beth or Nancy, something like that. So 80-year-old Nancy comes in, probably don't have her power clean. You know what I mean? Like her deadlift's 95 pounds, focus on getting that up. But if you consider yourself more athletic than not, you should definitely at least learn them. They're a good tool to have in your toolbox, I would say.
So when would you start someone cleaning?
It's a good break from the deadlift, so kind of the way that it's programmed in Starting Strength is it's normally how I would apply it if the person wants to do it that immediately. If someone's like very interested in Olympic lifting and they want to, do it day one, totally do it day one, just do it after your deadlifts. They can't really hurt that much. A power clean is not really going to throw off your entire programming unless you're like, yeah, I did 46 reps of power cleans. I stayed in the gym for an extra 2 hours, something like that. But as fast as you want to, in terms of a tool to help the deadlift, it's a good light pulling variation. So a lot of the times on like a lighter pulling day, if you're running like an HLM schedule, heavy, light, medium, you can get like some Romanian deadlifts in there, some power clean, something like that, really just depending on personal preference. But I think they're totally underutilized, and I think a lot of people kind of poo-poo them immediately, but I like them a lot.
Why do they poo-poo them?
It's hard to teach. It's harder to teach remotely. Mm-hmm. And then it's weird to do things for fun, especially kind of, depending on the community and culture that you're in, to be like, hey, I'm going to have you do something that I know isn't going to absolutely drive your deadlift. It's not going to, physique wise, it's not going to really change much aesthetically, even, for 90% of people who are starting to do a power clean. But it's just like, hey, I want to teach you how to commit to a movement as fast as you can. And, give you some variation, because it's just like the squat, press, bench, deadlift, all that stuff. It is very internally painful once you're getting to that like very grindy area, like what people would call 0 reps in reserve, RPE 10, whatever you want to call it. Like, it's a big ask of someone to go in and say like, hey, I need you to squat, and I need you to bench, I need you to rack pull. It's your heavy day, Texas method, excuse me. It's a big ask. So like having something like the power clean where it doesn't feel like a death grind, you're moving fast, you're feeling powerful. I think it's a great tool to have in the toolbox. But that definitely doesn't mean that everyone should go into it with reckless abandon. But
I was sort of thinking about how old mate Tom Jardine would do a power. How he's going to get his power clean setup going. He actually left he was actually watching. He actually left a comment. His comment was a lot. I assume that was in reference to how much can
those rocks weigh?
Yeah, or how much can the bed hold?
Yeah. You should just do whenever I was at my parents' house last week, I was cutting down a bunch of trees. But get a nice long log segment and then just kind of grab the end of it and then just clean it and press it. You can do that. It has a nice like fulcrum on it just because the whole thing should weigh a ton of weight. It's not going to move on you. Don't do it on a hill. That's the only advice I have for you. But those are fun. That's a good replacement for the clean, I would say. Good clean and press action.
We're waiting for your power clean video, Tom. It's you need to take it up a notch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're done. Yeah, we got through them all pretty quickly.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. For people who popped in the live stream, thank you for watching. Jason, hello. I'm going to finish your stuff, actually, as soon as we get off this. It's the whole night work phase is now started, so I'll talk to you soon.
Yep. All right. And if people want to find you, Alex, where can they get in contact with you?
We'll put a website link into the description. If you're just a general strength athlete, definitely hit me up. I consider myself a bit of a programming whiz kid. I'll be able to help you out there. If you are kind of doing any sort of, grappling, power sports, something like that, that's honestly my specialty. So if you are doing that, reach out to me. I'll definitely be able to help you out.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Alex. Good to see you, mate. And we'll be back next week with another episode, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Hopefully with Rusty.
Yeah, the great Rusty.
The great Rusty, yeah. All right, mate. Thanks a lot.
All right. See you, Mick.
See ya.